That's gotta be Kane hotter. That's gotta be Kane hotter. He just ripped the axle off its hinges. Who could possibly stop this almost supernaturally powered mechanic? Toe is a Tubi original from director Vanessa Alexander, written by Jesse Batelshoff, who did Across the Hall as well as Altitude, and written and starring Caitlin Gerard. So again, a Soul Taker type influence. If you've seen Soul Taker, you know what I'm talking about. The star and the writer were one and the same. But yes, Caitlin Gerard plays Maddie and Abby, twin sisters that are being besieged by dreams and memories and just trauma from witnessing their parents being murdered by a mechanic played by Kane Hodder. If you're not necessarily familiar with the name Kane Hodder, you may remember him as pretty much the most famous incarnation of Jason Voorhees, a big hulking version and everything. He's made quite a comfortable living playing the big hulking brute and vicious killer in a lot of movies. So yeah, the girls are besieged by memories. They've drifted apart since they saw their parents get murdered by this mechanic. And Abby got kidnapped briefly, but a good Samaritan stopped the mechanic, and now he's set to be executed, but they drifted apart. They were going to meet at the place where it happened and come to peace and then go on with their lives. Also, Abby has a husband, and Maddie is visiting the therapist that Abby also frequents. And from there, you have a horror movie. You also have a horror movie filled with a whole lot of dream sequences. A lot of dream sequences that are just to endlessly pad the fucking movie out. Am I too early in the review to basically say this movie's fucking dog shit? Despite the efforts of anybody in front and behind the camera, this is so painfully generic, and everybody can move on to do bigger and better things, but this was really, really fucking bad. I got the point of what they were trying to do. It just turned out to be not good at all. It was also obvious where it was going to go from the very beginning, and while having something being predictable is not the worst thing when it comes to horror, when you do it so by the numbers, you practically, just have a checklist. Okay, boom, dream sequence, bad backstory, all this, Oh, okay, we're just going to go with that. These dream sequences also, it just highlights the fact this movie didn't have a whole lot to it. Large chunks of this movie were done without dialogue. I don't think it's because they couldn't afford dialogue, but it's like, well, shit, let's just do this. Let's just have them stalk around and do all this, when this could have been 30 to 40 minutes and put in an anthology movie. And it still wouldn't have been very good, but it would have been better than this full-length feature that we ended up getting. And again, the conclusion is so fucking obvious. I'm going to end up spoiling a lot of this here in just a few seconds, because missing out on this is not going to haunt you one goddamn bit. But yeah, it's on Tubi. Tubi is free. You just got to put up with some ads, but they've got some good movies. I have reviewed some of their originals like Unborn and Titanic 666. But unlike those movies, you didn't have anything about haunted uterus, the haunted uteri that was in Unborn, and you didn't have anything ridiculous like Titanic 666. They didn't even lean into the fucking concept like it should have. Check out my reviews on the Real Honest Movie Reviews playlist if you would like. But now I'm going to get into spoilers, because this movie doesn't have a whole lot of material to it. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers. Okay. So yeah, Abby is traumatized by this and says, hey, this guy was putting these weird symbols, on the windshields of his victims, and he also made like a weird, symbol made out of human flesh. He may be set to be executed, but he burned a symbol onto my hand. And then Maddie finds out later she had a symbol burned onto her hand. Also, this therapist is trying to help them. And these dream sequences basically have Maddie trying to figure out all this stuff and work through it. But she's getting knocked out with massive regularity, to the point she's almost a fucking narcoleptic, just without the actual illness. Even narcoleptics are saying, okay, what the fuck are you doing? Rip Van Winkle's saying, lass, you've slept long enough. What the hell are you doing? And from there, you just get more ridiculousness. It becomes very obvious what's going to happen. Abby ends up becoming possessed. We have the weird color tinting and the shaky camera and everything, and it's all moving around, all this. And then she kills a few people. She hammers her husband in the head, but doesn't kill him. Kills a few bikers that Maddie sees in her dreams. And then she's arrested, Abby is, but she's in a freaking coma, medically induced coma. And Maddie comes to see her. And then Maddie ends up getting knocked out and having another dream. And this dream basically revolves around her being towed in her sister's car and trying to figure out all this stuff. The doctor ends up in this dream. And the satanic symbols were basically that the killer was trying to find a way to go into, or, go past the afterlife and find a way to get to basically possess them and everything. It's like My Soul to Take with less of a budget. I just retro-reviewed My Soul to Take. God, what a shit movie that was. This was 20 minutes shorter, yet it felt longer. And that's not a good talent. That's not a good talent at all to have. the biker sequence where they're trying to look for, the killer and everything, or break down a window, and they're doing it in the dumbest way possible. Oh, I'll be right back, and then they get separated. Ethan, the husband, in the real world that will not stop hassling Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20, is like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Then he accidentally knocks out Maddie. And then it turns out that Maddie, while she's trying to be woken up by her therapist, is working through all this, and the guy's going to be publicly executed. The mechanic, he gets shocked, electric shock, not that K-pop song. And then she's shocking the guy's, massive wrench that he uses for a weapon. And then it turns out, oh no, it's her sister. Oh no, Maddie's possessed. And she beats the shit out of her therapist with a goddamn water pitcher instead of the wrench. And now she's possessed. That's it. That is literally all the entire movie is. The movie is just 86 minutes of basically nothing until we get to a conclusion that we fucking saw coming about 80 miles away. It gets an F. Of course it gets a fucking F because it was fucking atrocious. Is it the worst film I've seen this year? No. Is it one of the worst films I've seen this year? Yes. But I've seen so much trash this year, this might not even crack the top 15, but it's still really fucking bad. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.